THI Public Fellowship basically allows graduate students to explore their skills and their knowledge, their research abilities within spaces that are outside of academia.
The unique quality of the public fellowship program at THI is that it allows you to apply this training that, yes, is generated at the university in an academic setting, but to apply that to other jobs and other sort of skill sets, such as engaging with multiple publics, setting up exhibitions, things like that that traditionally don't make it into an academic PhD program, I would say.
I think that it really matters to be doing these kind of public fellowships because this is actually what it should be all about. It should be about programs like this that are partnerships rather than just being kind of tucked away in a university and just doing your studies isolated in your room or in the library alone. In this way, I get to collaborate. So that's what's amazing about it.
We supervise a lot of volunteers and interns, and I do think that the UCSC fellows are unique in their level of skill, in their level of research, and their level of knowledge, and how much sort of passion they bring for these records, for these archives.
This was a really good fit because the GLBT Historical Society has a strong research component in that it has archives, which is where I did my public fellowship, but it also has a really interesting public-facing dimension. And as a historian who hopes to go into an academic job, I wanted my training to be sort of multifaceted. And the GLBT Historical Society, because it has both of those components, was a perfect fit for me.
As a public fellow, I had the opportunity to work with an editor and also a team of editorial assistants. This meant that I was able to work in community and learned how to apply my skills under the guidance of professionals in the field who were genuinely interested in my professional and scholarly development. My own research looks at the work of artists, poets, and writers, and tries to better understand how they're creating interventions to make a better world. In a way, UC Press offers one model that I got to be involved in and work with really closely that also informs my own research. I spend a lot of time thinking about how communities build knowledge and how they move it from one place to another. Through the THI Public Fellowship, I was able to kind of get really hands-on with that process, and I was able to take a peek behind the curtains and do the thing that I was studying. And for me, that was incredibly valuable because no longer do I have to only imagine it and think about it as an outsider, but I have had this inside experience, and that I think has really shifted the way I write and the way I think about the problems I study.
My academic research focuses on Hindi literature of the post-independence period in India, that is in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. My work with the Center for the Art of Translation involves contacting translators from South Asian languages, and I am particularly interested in translators from Hindi. It's been amazing for me to have a deep resonance between the work that I've done for the Center for the Art of Translation and the work that I do for my academic research.
My PhD is in literature, but I specialize in Shakespeare. My dissertation is on Shakespeare's history plays, but the brilliant thing about working with Rebecca on the public fellowship is that I get to explore these other fields within Shakespeare studies, like critical race theories and social justice in Shakespeare.
Katie and I are working together on curriculum planning for our in-school Shakespeare and Social Justice program, where we work with local students to look at Shakespeare through the relevant social justice topics of the day. Having a public fellow from the Humanities Institute is an invaluable part of our education department here at Santa Cruz Shakespeare because we have someone whose studies are focused specifically in the field that we are trying to introduce more students to. I consider Katie to be my expert in the field.
The Humanities Institute has offered me regular support throughout the year as a public fellow, particularly by offering regular check-ins with Saskia and the other public fellows to talk about our experiences with mentorship and with building a new set of skills and knowledges.
In this role, I've grown a lot. I've had the opportunity to better translate all the work that I do into something serviceable, something that works for a team, or something that can be used by the public. As a scholar, sometimes you build things that are really only for you until one day, hopefully, it gets published. So as a public fellow, I was able to kind of do that on a quicker scale and build things for people in the moment.
In my program, a lot of the training is in the classroom. It's through reading, it's through writing. So this public fellowship was a really, really good opportunity to get my hands dirty, to really get into the world of where history happens, the archive, the museum. And in that sense, I really appreciate the exposure to the more technical sides of our profession. So through the collaboration with the GLBT Historical Society, I brought back an awareness and a reminder, really, of the reasons that I'm writing this dissertation and the communities that I'm hoping to highlight the history of.
If the humanities stays in the university, then it's not achieving its full potential. The THI Public Fellowship brings the humanities to the people that need it, to the publics that want to see represented within it. It's about working not only solitarily, but in the streets, in the libraries, in the bookshops, with the people who have the most to gain from it.